Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this episode of the FurtAudio Experience, the podcast that leaves you feeling more conscious, engaged, and fulfilled to make a bigger impact in your life on humanity. So this is my first little episode that I'm doing here in 2022. So thank you for listening. For the one or two of you that are tuning in, I appreciate you for giving this a listen. So I want to talk about human connection today. So I'm actually reading a book. It's called Together by Vivek Murthy. He was the Surgeon General of the United States, and you know he's in the medical field, and so it was really interesting and fascinating to think about. You know, he talks a lot about his experience as a doctor and a physician, and being able to work with a lot of different people who have had obviously different medical conditions, right? And he found that one of the most profound ways to staying healthy, and I'm not going to sit here and say that it's not, working out and eating healthy and sleeping right, those are all really important things, but there's something that's missing that we don't talk about as much, and I honestly feel this one. I definitely feel this one for the last couple of years, and it's human connection. It's human connection. So often, especially like the last few years, it's been a lack of human connection for reasons of COVID and having to quarantine and physically distance from people, which has led to rises in media usage and screen usage, which obviously creates this world where we're kind of living in our own, we're with our close people, but we don't have the same human interaction. And when this is something that I noticed this week when I was subbing, in mathematics, and they would be in a group, and I gave them like some group assignments that the teacher had me doing, and it just seemed like some of them were friends, right? And it was a little easier for some of them, but some of them just like didn't have some of those social skills that maybe they would have had a couple of years ago, and kind of got me inspired to write a little bit, and also make this video about asking you right now, how often are you connecting with people that you really care about, and how much you need, right? And I think we actually need more human connection than we put on to. So a lot of this book kind of goes into this effect of a lot of people that are feeling and experiencing loneliness, and I know I definitely did last term, and in different ways, right? Like I had my intimate needs met with my partner, with my girlfriend, but I didn't have as many friends once I moved here to Los Angeles, so I was kind of like missing some buddies, and really just I didn't reach out to some of my friends that were here, because a lot of times when we're experiencing loneliness, we don't want to reach out to other people because we feel like we're being a burden. Yet now I've already hung out with them like a couple times this year, and they're always like, hell yeah, let's hang out, right? Like, it's gonna be fun, let's go do it. So a lot of times, and one of the other things that I've been building up, in my own head is like reaching out to people for the podcast, or reaching, it's like, oh, I'm going to annoy them. But it's really like everyone's human, and recognizing that other people are going to be nervous about hanging out or even doing a podcast, even if they're the experts on the podcast. So for that, and what I really want to distill for you all is that we're all human, and we're all experiencing, this desire for human connection, right? And we all don't want to be a burden on other people, but we want that connection, and I think that's definitely been one of the things that's been missing in my life, personally, ever since I moved from Eugene and had the consistent job at Boys and Girls Club. Those were my people, right, every single day. And right now I'm substitute teaching, so I'm here, I'm there, I'm getting into a little bit of rhythm. I'm making some friends with my basketball coaches that I work in the afternoon. So really wanting to put a value on connecting with others, and not being in such a race like, oh, I have to do this and this and this. Like, let's actually like spend time on a Saturday and a Sunday to just like actually hang out and be with people, because it's not only good, it's great for my mental health, it's great for my physical health, just because like I'm engaged, and it's something that social skills are something that it's practiced, and it can be a little bit lost. Like I'm for those that are listening, it might be a little bit more challenging the last few years to interact and socialize, especially with people maybe that we don't have previous relationships built up with. But maybe you're listening to it like, yeah, dude, it's something that it's easy for me. But I just want to caution you with, a lot of people aren't experiencing that. A lot of people are experiencing like some challenges. So let's really put a value on connecting with others this year and really seeing the human in everyone. That's what I've been trying to do, especially as a substitute teacher, is like recognizing that if there's, certain behavior issues or if people are acting out in certain ways, just to see everyone as human. People are always doing something. It's a cause and effect. If they're acting out, it's maybe something that's going on at home, and right, it's going to look a little bit different for kids and adults. But really, at the end of the day, like of course, adults have their brains are fully developed, right? But we still have some of those same needs as kids to connect with humans. So that is kind of my thoughts for today. Is really to think about, right? There's nothing wrong with hard work and valuing like building like a great future for yourself. What I was doing, and I want to caution against you all, is building your entire future. That's all you're doing in the present moment, right? You can do a couple of little things like, some investing, creating content, writing, whatever it is that you feel like you're investing in for your future self. But make sure you're enjoying and having fun on the ride and just, being with people. I think that's what I really hope you take away from this podcast, is the power of being with people. And it doesn't even always have to be like the most in-depth conversation, although in-depth conversations definitely nurture and I love them. It's just like hanging out, talking about sports, hanging out, talking about, movies, whatever it is, right? It's just always about, connecting with people and sharing experiences with them. So I appreciate you all for giving this podcast a listen. Share it with a friend if you feel like you want to connect with them maybe. And I again appreciate y'all. Hope y'all have a great day whenever you're listening to this, great evening, great morning, whatever. So FurtAudio out. Much love.